Hello everyone. Today I will be doing a video on my book collection. This will be in no particular alphabetical order, and I apologize for the lighting, but the lighting in my room is simply not good. I won't be giving a lot of explanation for why I have certain books. I may not list all of them individually. This is a video primarily to show you what I have. Okay, so have a book on Alfred Hitchcock. Have Ulysses. I have Double Indemnity, the book Double Indemnity. Heart of Darkness, a book about writing, I think. Um, a book on drugs of the Old West. Um, the Year of Lear. It's a biography about Shakespeare. I have a book of the Nathaniel Hawthorne short stories. I have The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I have The Black Dahlia, a book about the Black Dahlia murders, and I have A Crime and Punishment, The Great Gatsby. I have several copies of The Great Gatsby. I have Hard Times, and then by Charles Dickens, Dracula, Thane Grey westerns, Phantom of the Opera, The Sound and the Fury, The Invisible Man. Um, I think this is a book about Gothic tales, The Crucible, Of Human Bondage, the House of Seven Gables. And as we go down, have Jane Eyre. I have this is the entire Sherlock Holmes collection. I have I think that this is also Sherlock Holmes. I have two books in Sherlock Holmes. I think that's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the complete Edgar Allan Poe collection. I think this is a book about prostitutes in the Old West. A Tale of Two Cities. The Scarlet Letter. The Great Expectations. Jack the Ripper, a book on Jack the Ripper. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. That's another book I think about Poe stories. I think this is a very old book version of Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Then, of course, this is Alice in Wonderland, another version of Dracula. This, I'm not sure what this is. I think it's some kind of college book my grandfather owned. And of course, the F. Scott Fitzgerald collection. And then I have Bleak House by Charles Dickens. And then here's A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And that's all that's on that shelf. I have to go over here. The lighting is even worse, but let me see here. Martin Chuzzlewit, I believe. The Great Gatsby again. As I Lay Dying, I believe is that one. Anna Karenina. This is another William Faulkner book. I don't think I've read that one yet, but then there's the plays of Eugene O'Neill, and then there's Empty Sounds of the Wind, one of my books. Then there's Dark Tales of Mystery and Crime, one of my short story collections. Here's Moby Dick. These are the plays of Heinrich Ibsen. Then this is Charles Dickens' book Dombey and Son. Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, David Copperfield, Nicholas Nickleby. The Pickwick Papers. These are all Charles Dickens books. This edition printed, I think, in the 20s or 30s. Little Dorrit, Our Mutual Friend. I think that's Richard III. That is Sketches by Boz. And this is The Life of Christ, a book written by Charles Dickens, Edwin Drood. And then we have over here, we have a hardback copy of Silent Reckoning, one of my book. There's a paperback copy. There's a second volume of Dark Tales of Mystery and Crime that was never published. Then there's Mournful Wanderer, one of my books. And then there's Symphony of Perdition, one of my books. Down here, let's see, you have the American Tradition Literature. I think that's a college book. This is a biography on Charlton Heston. And there's a Quiet Madness, which is a fictional biography of Edgar Allan Poe. And that's a book on hunting. It's a book on Marlene Dietrich, a biography on Elvis. There's Do Movies Have a Future, talking about film criticism. Then we have these are graphic novels, which I won't list individually. There's The Wizard of Oz over there. There's a book on my favorite actress, Ida Lupino, and then there's the screenplay for Double Indemnity, and then I think there's the book about Clive Barker about a demon, and then there's a book on vampirism, and so now I will get up and go. Oh, here's some books here. This is about the American Gothic and film, and then there's a book about the Universal monsters and Dracula, and these are some of the big books that wouldn't fit on the other shelf. So now we're over here, and of course here's another version of my book, Silent Reckoning, and then there's a physical version of Silent Reckoning, I mean a hardback version. There's the complete works of Shakespeare in hardback and War and Peace. Of course, I'm going to have to move these now, and so I can keep going. Okay, here's a book, Loxton, The Amazing Family. It's a biography. This is a book that was written by my grandfather. Then there's a biography of Jimmy Stewart, another book on Frankenstein, a book about film noir, a book on the actress Vivian Leigh, a book on Jack the Ripper, The Writer's Guide. This is another book about writing, and book on Gone with the Wind, Dark History of Hollywood, Writing with a Purpose. It's another college book on writing. And then there's a book on Lincoln, a book on Killing Lincoln. And then there's the biography of Joan Crawford. There's a book on Hollywood legends, John Wayne, biography of John Wayne. There's a book on there's The Hobbit. There's the Lord of the Rings trilogy books. There's a book biography on Vincent Price. Book biography of the actress Julie Adams, who I met. A book on Orson Welles. Book on, I think it's a book on Iraq. It's one of my grandfather's books. Book on the actress Barbara Stanwyck. And there's also the book Dust of Shadows, which is I think one of my sister's books that I had. But as we move down, we have the play A Streetcar Named Desire, which this is a book, interesting story. A book that I think originally belonged in a classroom in high school, but I had these bananas in my backpack that accidentally some of the residue got on this, and it began to like mold, and I was afraid to return the book, so that's how I ended up with it. But anyway, then there's The Exorcist, and several journals here. There's The Odyssey. There's the brothers Kazmanov. I can't remember that. That's a book by Dostoevsky. There's The Iliad, Thunderball, James Bond books. Here is the works of Lord Byron. Then there is William Faulkner, The Light Within August. There's The Big Sleep, and it's Tolstoy short story collection. There is Alvin Plantinga, Knowledge and Christian Belief. There's William Wordsworth, the poet. Then here is Communist Manifesto, starting at Intellectual Curiosity. There's Philosophy 101, and we have Dracula. I have a book on Friedrich Nietzsche thus spoke Zarathustra. We have The Sweet Smell of Success, Crime and Punishment, Les Miserables, another paperback version of Silent Reckoning. Now, I'm gonna have to move these now. They're blocking the rest of the books. Okay. All right. Okay, we have a book on the Twilight Zone, a book biography of the horror actor Boris Karloff, Dante's Inferno, a book about basset hounds, I think a middle grade version of Dracula, Romeo and Juliet, another book, the book Psycho by Robert Bloch, middle grade versions of The Invisible Man, The Phantom of the Opera, book on Robin Hood, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a middle grade version of that, and a middle grade version of Sleepy Hollow, and I'm not sure what that book is there, but then we have Wuthering Heights, and translation of the Holy Bible, and what is that, the New International Translation, and then we have College Spelling, and then we have Mildred Pierce, another abridged version of Frankenstein, Alfred Hitchcock, a book Alfred Hitchcock, Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, True Grit, a book on critical thinking. These are proof versions of Silent Reckoning, and here's a book on Poe, and a very old book, a complete book on Poe that was my grandfather found in the trash. Book on old Hollywood. Okay, now we're moving down to the next level. Hope my phone doesn't run out of space. Okay, now we have a lot of these are old books by that my father had. I'm not going to list those, but so I'll just take these off so I can continue. I won't list all of them anyway. There's a book on When London Walked in Terror. I think that's another book about Jack the Ripper. The Natural History of the Vampire. And again, I haven't read all of these books, but another version of A Streetcar Named Desire, and a book on there's a book on many things. There's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. There's Sister Carrie. There's the Canterbury Tales over here. Then there is not sure what this book is. What is this book? The Standard Book of Formulas. Some of these are books that not all of these are books. I don't know what all of these books are. We have Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, book about Star Wars, Mistress of the Art of Death, and we have H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, War of the Worlds. We have Ray Bradbury, The Martian Chronicles, and we have the hair-raising horror stories. Ooh. We have a book about the Red Necklace, and then we have Be a Peacock in a World Full of Pigeons. I think that's a journal, and we have Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, and we have a book written by James M. Cain, The Cocktail Waitress, and then there's the Bird by Bird, Some Instructions on Writing and Life, and we have the Dracula Archives and a book about Star Trek 11 or whatever, and then we have, okay, we're going to go faster now, The Fight by Norman Mailer. I'm not going to read all of the books up here. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo. I knew I had another copy of The Hunchback of Notre Dame somewhere. I knew it. I wasn't sure where the second copy had been. I, Robot, book Spock Must Die. R.L. Stine books, a book on Elvis, another version of the Phantom of the Opera, the television years, a book on Indiana Jones, You Only Live Twice, the James Bond book, the Night Stalker, Terry Goodkind's Wizard's First Rule. Star Trek. Then we have another version of Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. What's that one? Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. We have Stone of Tears by Terry Goodkind, a book on Tallulah Bankhead, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Hobbit, Terry Goodkind's The Temple of the Winds, Wizard's First Rule, then a book on the history of witchcraft. Way down here, have these are books I just got. Joseph Conrad, Lord Jim. Got Count of Monte Cristo. They got Nostradamus, Joseph Conrad. Poems of Walt Whitman. And here, as we go to the last shelf, there is another book, Edgar Allan Poe, Stephen King book, Secret Window, The Shining, Gone with the Wind. We have, was there? Well, apparently there's more than one version of Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. I didn't know I had 2 copies of Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. Okay, and then we have Gone with the Wind, and we have here Farewell to Arms, The Turn of the Screw, Robin Hood, Book of the Postman Always Rings Twice, and we have the book, this is an interesting book you might want to see, Mr. Green, which is one of my first really complete novel. It was terrible, it was never published. And then of course there's my high school yearbook over there, and that is about it. I know I didn't list every book that you came across, but I listed quite a few of them, so I hope you enjoyed this little tour of my library, and I apologize for the poor lighting in advance.